with myself, Salailo Makwidere, and our next story is going to be a really, really interesting one, especially coming at a time when South Africa is once again at the forefront of global justice, taking Israel to the International Court of Justice over its actions in Gaza. Questions of solidarity, questions of resistance, and international alliances have returned to the spotlight. But what's interesting is the fact that decades before this moment, some South Africans were already part of a broader global struggle. This morning, I'm going to be bringing you a story few have heard. While apartheid era South Africa had very, very close ties with Israel, there were a handful of freedom fighters who chose a different path. Mr. Jabu Radebe was among the elite APLA soldiers who traveled to Lebanon in the early 1980s to fight alongside the PLO against the IDF, making him one of the rarest South African warriors in history. For decades, his story remained in the shadows, and now, for the first time, I was told to address him as Mu-Afrika Radebe, but I'll just stick to Babu Radebe. He's going to be breaking his silence on what it was like to be called an African tiger by Yasser Arafat, called to face the Israeli military on foreign soil and to return to South Africa that never knew what he did. This is his untold account of courage, of sacrifice, and a forgotten chapter of African resistance. And he joins us in studio this morning. Babu Radebe, good morning. Thank you so much for joining us.
Morning.
I'm really excited to be having this conversation. When my colleagues told me that you're coming, I had goosebumps really when I was taking a look at your profile and what you did. But I want to get insight. If you can just take us back to where your story begins and what drew you into the struggle, essentially, at a very, very volatile time here in South Africa, and being as young as you were at that time.
Yeah, in fact, I joined the struggle while I was 18 years inside South Africa, and under the person who recruited me is a former and founder member of PAC, Babu Kanya, the one who was leading the Petal 18 trial at that time. And in 1974, when I joined the PAC, Babu Kanya was a chairman of Shawala branch, but I joined under in White City, Jabavu, under the chairmanship of Babu Willie Bokala, who was working for the World newspaper at that time. He was our chairman of the branch of White City, and Babu Sloto, the late Aubrey Sloto, who was the chairman of PAC at Dube branch.
And from that moment when you were recruited, how old were you? What were some of your responsibilities, and what was happening in the country generally?
In fact, it was apartheid. We are not allowed to move, to walk in the pavement. We were, all the things, all the bad things were happening to Africans. And I was only 18 years at that time. But my main duty with the late Ngakamuloto of Piri, our main duty, and there's a guy which we call we call it Jesus. Vusimtselu of Mfulo. We're recruiting officers. We're in and out of Lesotho, Botswana, Swaziland, taking new cadres to exile.
And what did that process look like? Being a recruiter for APLA, did young people just come to you, or did you scout young people in schools? What was the structures and process?
Most of the time we're going to social clubs. And even at schools, especially during the debate time, we started to choose one or two people that we are confident that they can be, they won't link any information. We recruited some of them like that.
And then from that moment, being in Southern Africa, being in South Africa, being a recruiter, you ultimately fast forward find yourself in Lebanon fighting against the IDF with the PLO. Take us through that process. How did it come about? How did you move from Southern Africa ultimately into the Middle East?
Yeah. In fact, that time after the harassment, in fact, by security branch, we decided in 1977 March to leave the country, going to exile via Swaziland, Mozambique, and straight to our headquarters in Tanzania. In Tanzania, we spent about a year undergoing political and ideological training before we went to Libya in 1978 February. 1978 February to to April 1979, we spent about full 14 months in Libya training. And we did for 6 months basic military training, and other 8 months we did officers training course. Yeah, we were trained in Libya. At that time, we interacted with the late Muammar Gaddafi. He was Colonel Gaddafi and the president of Libya. And Abu Bakr Yunus, the chief of the defense force of Libya, and Dr. Ali Treki, the chief of the foreign affairs. Dr. Ali Treki, yeah.
So from Libya, you stay for how long, and the journey to Lebanon, how did that come about?
From Libya, we stayed 14 months. From there, we went back to Tanzania, to our political and military headquarters in Tanzania. From there in Tanzania, we were there in Tanzania for 2 years. 2 years before undergoing a commando course in Lebanon. Under Yasser Arafat, we call him Abu Ammar. Yeah, under Abu Ammar.
Just take us through, some of your memories during these training camps, and how different and how much of a culture shock it was for you coming from Southern Africa. Now you are in the quote unquote Arab world. How differently did they do things when it comes to, how they train, how, they prepare their troops, in compared to us here at home? Did you find it difficult to adjust? And what are some of the earliest memories you have from that time?
No, in fact, it was not difficult for us that time because we already knew the culture of Arabic, whatever, from Libya, from the time we were in Libya. We even joined Islam, all this thing. We even went to the mosque. We know how to pray, everything. Yeah.
And you are so far away from home at a very young age. What's a 18, 19-year-old young South African man thinking at that moment? What motivates you? What drives you to leave South Africa?
What drives us? It was now, the apartheid, they were just now pushing the apartheid through our throat because they decided to change arithmetic to Rekenkende. They decided to change mathematics to math to Veskende. They were pushing everything that we decided now as a group of 1976. We decided to ban all the literature of Africans. We said, no, we cannot. You have forced our parents, our grandfathers, our grandmothers, our mothers, our sisters. From there, you decided to put the same doctrine to us as a young. That's why June 16 started.
Baba Radebe, abazali bathini? What are your parents saying? Are you writing home? Are you communicating with them in any way, or are you just underground at this point, and no one has links to you back home here in South Africa?
In fact, no. But the biggest thing, we were having people who were operating underground instead. The one who were taking the message to our parents said, no, these people are still alive. You know, all these things.
So there were links.
There were links, yeah. Because one advantage, if we didn't have people who were working the underground operatives, we're not going to succeed with our struggle, because they knew when we get in, they're working as the couriers. They knew that in such a place there's a roadblock. When we're infiltrating for operations, they know such a place there's a roadblock, such a place there's a roadblock, such a place there's a roadblock. They came to Botswana, they came to Swaziland, you know, they were guiding us. In fact, we were having your what is this thing? Okay, we're having the equipment to detect why there's a roadblock somewhere. We divert, we bypass that roadblocks. We go on to our operations.
There were
compasses, yeah.
Compasses,
we have,
yes. For directions.
For direction,
yes.
When we get into the bush, we just avoid that roadblock. They will still in that roadblock. Ourselves,
You're long gone.
We are long gone.
There were two, if not more, but I think the two most visible movements of that time were obviously the PAC and APLA, and then you had the ANC with Umkhonto Wesizwe.
Yeah.
Why choose one over the other? And what inspired that decision? Was it just how you were recruited, or there was a difference in ideology between the two organizations?
When we went to exile, especially in that time, we left. Some they left straight as ANC recruits. Some they left straight, like myself. We left straight as PAC recruits. But, for example, the chief of the naval force during the integration, Admiral Mudimu, we left together with him as PAC members. But now, the delay in Swaziland of taking us to training, because we were so furious, we wanted to fight. Yeah, now the delay, Admiral Mdimu joined MK, Stan Mabizela, who was the chief representative of ANC that time in Swaziland. They took the chief of the Admiral Mudimu, we call him Aster. Yeah, they took them to GTR under MK training. Yeah, but ourselves we delayed until we went to Tanzania
with APLA and the PAC.
Yeah, in the PAC under the chief representative the late Joe Mkwanaze. Yeah,
and then we come back now. The year is 1980. You've moved from Tanzania to Libya. Libya, ultimately Lebanon.
Yeah.
Correct? Give us your first recollection of Lebanon. The training, when you arrived, how different was it from South Africa? And ultimately now having to go to battle with the IDF.
Now, in fact, I cannot say in Lebanon we were training, because we were already trained. Now we are now fighting against IDF, because they were the main supporters of the Boers, main supporters of apartheid.
But how does that decision come about? Your initial training and the reason why you left home was to come back as trained guerrilla fighters, as freedom fighters here in South African soil. But now you are fighting in foreign lands.
We wanted to strengthen ourselves to be
experienced,
combat readiness and experience. You know, we said no. Let's hit them hard.
Hit them hard.
Yeah, because during our operation, we were launching our missiles and everything at 3:00 in the morning while people are sleeping.
Wow. And this is under the command of
Yasser Arafat.
Yasser Arafat. You've met him. Can you give us a bit more about him and the man that he was?
Yeah, that guy, he was a freedom fighter, and we call him Abu Ammar. We call him Abu Ammar, Yasser Arafat. But we had commanders from Al-Fateh group, which trained us.
Al-Fateh
to get into the field. Because we're preparing for down here.
To come back home as more
battle
ready,
prepared. Combat readiness.
Combat ready, yes.
Yeah, combat ready.
When you are in Lebanon in that period, are you still remembering home? Are you understanding the directives that you're getting from your commanders that this is not just a foreign war? Because, you know, sometimes you read people saying, well, why are we fighting a war overseas? Maybe this has nothing to do with us. Was there an understanding that the people of Palestine are very supportive of the struggle of the people of South Africa, and you guys were one, essentially?
Yeah, in fact, they even say, if you can capture one of the African Tigers.
This was your battalion, essentially.
Yeah, if you can catch one of the African Tigers, the case will be in Pretoria. We said, no, it's okay. It's war.
If you were caught, you were going to be trialed in Pretoria. That's how close the Israeli government and apartheid government were.
They said, no, if you catch one of you. And we went as a group. No one was injured. No one. We came as a group again back to
Libya.
No, back to our headquarters.
Oh, you're back to headquarters
in Tanzania.
Sure.
That's why in Tanzania I commanded 3 camps. I was a camp commander in Itumbi camp in Bear region, in Iringa, in Bagamoyo. Yeah,
because of the experience that you had gathered in Lebanon.
That time my rank as a camp commander is colonelship. I was supposed to be a colonel, but I was under rank. That's why I was so furious. I decided to leave the army because they gave me 1994 integration. They gave me a rank of a sergeant. I said, no, it's underranking me. That's why after in August 30, 1980 and 1998, I washed my uniform, camouflage. I took to my base. I said, I'm resigning. I don't want this army because you think I'm a fool. I was a colonel. Now you decided to give me a sergeantship. I left the army.
Let's go back to your time in Lebanon. Was it what you expected? Was the training enough? For you to be battle ready for what you've encountered, and fighting against the IDF. How difficult was it? What are some of the memories you have from there?
No, it was difficult because we used to fight almost every day.
Every single day.
Every single day. And some of we told some of the fighters of PLO that no, but our struggle. is to you preserve oneself and destroy the enemy. But they themselves, they used to be, he came to us crying, said, "No, today I'm going to sacrifice my life."
Yo, so from your,
from there, we'll be helping him to put bombs in his.
They were ready to be martyrs.
Yeah, martyrs. Said no, because when I die, I'll go back to Allah very fast.
Sure.
Yeah.
I want us to take a quick break because there's still so much more I want to chat to you about. And we'll continue after this quick ad break, and then we'll come back.
Yes.
Rejuvenating media day by day.
Hey, what a journey.
This is Salam Media.
Discover the Africa of your dreams and surround yourself with her spectacular beauty. Relax beneath her serene sunsets and explore wildlife at its natural best. It's where the pride of Africa comes together. The Kwantu Private Game Reserve. Get to know the Big Five or cruise on an elephant safari game drive. Interact with lion and tiger cubs and enjoy world-class halal cuisine while we pamper you during your 5-star stay. Indulge in the true African experience. For reservations, call now on 042-203-1400 or visit kwantu.co.za. The Kwantu Private Game Reserve, the place of gathering.
Hey, Gulam.
Yeah?
Did I return your lawnmower last month?
No, bye, you didn't.
Oh, no. Now what'll I do? I wanted to borrow it again, man.
With Rendry Jewelers, you won't have to borrow or lend because the prices are so well trimmed on all gold and diamond jewelry. Alternatively, we could remake your old jewelry into a brilliant new design. Visit Rendry Jewelers at 151 Stevens Lamini Road, Musgrave, Durban. Rendry Jewelers, the family name you can trust.
For the first time, I can dream again.
The Africa Muslims Agency Orphan Hope Program provides the food, clothing, and basic support needed by thousands of children across the world. Every child deserves a chance at a hopeful future.
For 15,000 rands, you can transform our lives with the AMA Orphan Hope Program.
Africa Muslims Agency, empowering, educating, inspiring.
You know, it's a wonder how kids get anything done these days. With all the distractions, when do they even get time to study? As a mother, all I can really do is make sure they have all they need to perform at their best. That's why I choose to include Sunfoil, triple refined pure sunflower oil with every meal I make. Naturally cholesterol-free and approved by the Heart and Stroke Foundation as part of a balanced eating plan. So whether I'm cooking, frying or baking, I know every dish will be a wholesome one. Sunfoil, now we're cooking.
In the instance of this particular matter, you have both Israel and the USA, in spite of the evidence, believing that Iran wants to genocide Israel. And they said the same thing about Gaza, that Gaza would like to genocide Israel and therefore they genocide it first. Now, the problem with this is that the world ought to act at least on the basis of the evidence that is available to everyone watching this war, that for Gaza, the aggressor was Israel, the one who had every evidence for genocide was Israel. And that as a country, we took Israel to court precisely because the evidence was overwhelming. Now, to go to war without overwhelming evidence that there is genocide intended against you is something that, not only because they break the law, the international law that exists, but also all moral sensibilities ought to be telling us that this sort of behavior is not a 21st century behavior. It belongs in the dark barbaric ages long ago where there was no rule.
Reverend Moas Nka, a member of the National Executive Committee of South Africa's Council of Churches and also a member of the anti-apartheid movement.
This is Salam Media. Connect and stay ahead with Salam Media. This is Salam Media, coming to you live from South Africa.
Welcome back. You're still tuned in to News and Views with myself, Salailo Makwidere, and I'm still in a really, really brilliant conversation, a trip down memory lane, and I think a historic lesson that a lot of young South Africans in particular need to know about. I'm in conversation with Jabu Radebe, who was among a few elite APLA soldiers who traveled to Lebanon in the early 1980s to fight alongside the PLO against the IDF. And it's a story that I think needs to be documented as much as possible. Bab Jabu, thank you so much for joining us. Before we went on to that short break, you are still giving us a recollection of your time in Lebanon and fighting alongside the PLO, and just how different the PLO soldiers were, because they were ready, you know, to be martyrs, to sacrifice themselves. Seeing that as a South African, it's a different kind of strategy. You said your training was to preserve oneself
and destroy the enemy.
Did you adopt anything battle-wise in the battleground, fighting alongside the PLO, that you thought, you know, this is the strategies that we could probably take back home to fight the apartheid government here?
Yeah, especially to launching some weapons like SAM-7. SAM-7, it was anti-aircraft missile. When you fire it, it goes straight to heat-seeking missile, goes straight to the engine, and definitely the enemy planes, they are down.
The IDF planes are down at that moment.
Yeah.
Fast forward to when you have to come back. You said you came back via Tanzania, correct?
Yeah,
that was your base.
Yeah.
What was the plan after that? Where do you go? You're now battle ready. You went against the IDF. What was the plan after that?
The plan after that, it was now to distribute cadres for infiltration, some of them via Swaziland to South Africa, some of them via Zimbabwe to South Africa. It was still a rotation because they were still fighting that. No, it was after Zimbabwe got independent. Some of them via Zimbabwe through Beitbridge, some of them via Botswana to Mahalapi and other places.
Was there ever frustration coming from young soldiers like yourselves who, you know, were battle readied in Lebanon and were trained in Libya, and you can't really come back to South Africa and go full scale war? Because we never really saw full-scale battle against the apartheid government and some of the revolutionary militaries like APLA, like Umkhonto weSizwe. Did you feel like maybe this route of negotiations and talking was a waste of time at any point?
In fact, the question of negotiation, this CODESA, both APLA and MK, including Azandla of Steve Biko, we are against that. We are against that. But now, through our leadership, they push us. We wanted to continue war. We wanted to continue with war.
Because that's what you were trained
until
for.
we defeat the enemy. You see, but
I'm sure it must have been very, very frustrating.
It was just a compromise to come back. He said, no, okay.
It was a compromise.
It was a big compromise.
What do you think you've sacrificed as a young man who's never really lived his own life, never got to enjoy your youth, but at only 18 had to travel overseas and not be with your family. Do you think you've lost a lot? What are some of the things that you feel you missed out on?
Because some of us, we could be doctors, advocates, judges, everything. But now we decided, for the sake of the nation, that we cannot suffer for life. It's better we do something. Yeah.
And fast forward to 2023, there are scenes that are coming out of Palestine. We are seeing rockets being bombed on Palestinians, men, women, and children in Gaza. Probably some of them, their families. You fought alongside their fathers and their uncles in the PLO. What goes through your mind when you see those scenes?
In fact, let me tell you, I can say, you know, our government, they took a right decision to take Israel to
the ICJ.
Because at the end of the day, it won't be good that you see people, especially children, 2 year dying, all this, you know. It was a good move for South Africa to go to ICJ.
You said something, and it's just coming back to me, the fact that you came back and found yourself again very, very frustrated. Number one, at the fact that you guys couldn't fully fight the apartheid government as you were trained to. And also you're very frustrated after being integrated in the new SANDF in 1998, you said. How was that? Now having some white Afrikaners being your commanders, being colleagues with them, and knowing that you were trained to fight against these people, but it's the new dispensation now. You have to come together. How was that like?
It was difficult, but now, you know, because we are people who take orders from the above. That's why we decided to, our political leadership, we just said, okay, what can we do?
You seem very disappointed by the political leadership.
Yes,
even fast forward to now, looking at the state of the country, is that the sentiment? Do you feel maybe the politics have let us down a bit?
Yeah, for example, United Nations donated 1.6 trillion US dollar to be distributed among the freedom fighters, Abla, MK, and Azan. But that nothing of a sort. We didn't get anything. Yeah. Even for example, in Zimbabwe, well, Zimbabwe is poor now. It used to be a bread basket of Africa. Those guys, you know, when in Zimbabwe we were having 500 Zim dollar, everyone wants to be your friend.
That's a lot of money.
It's a lot of money, you know. A beer, a beer, we used to buy a beer with 4 cents.
4 cents.
4 cents.
Wow.
You see, everyone wants to be your friend. Now, the Zebra and Zanla, they were compensated. They were given $50,000.
These are the military organizations of Zimbabwe that were similar to APLA and Umkhonto weSizwe.
Yeah, for their participating in the struggle, they were given $50,000. Now you see that $50,000, when you calculate it now, it's more or less 5 million.
It's a lot of money.
Yeah,
it's a lot of money. Would you go back and do it again? If knowing what you know now, if we could reverse the time and you were recruited again by APLA, would you do it again?
I could, but now the question is, I'm old now, because you know, next month I'm 70 years.
70 years of age.
Yeah,
aging gracefully.
Yeah,
wonderful.
On May 15, I'll be 70 years. You know, I'll be celebrating my 70th birthday.
Yeah. Through all of the travels that you've had, all across Africa, going into the Middle East. What would you say is the biggest lesson that you've learned about solidarity? Solidarity with the people that are oppressed. Doesn't matter color, creed, religion, as long as it's an oppressed people. What should be done to show solidarity with them?
In fact, what I can say, there must be a pressure group to make sure that the people who are making genocide, this and this, they must stop it. Yeah, they must stop it.
And do you think the younger generation of South Africans fully understand the history behind what this country has become, the ties that we have with countries like Palestine, like Lebanon, the ties that we have with the likes of Yasser Arafat? Do we know, do we appreciate that history enough as young people? And how important is it that we educate ourselves on it?
I think the young people, like what I came from for today, they must learn not half-baked history. They must know everything.
No, I think we're going to leave for now, Jabu Radebe. I think it was really an honor and a pleasure to spend half an hour with you. I still believe your story needs to be told. A lot of people need to know about it because there's so much noise about the IDF right now. People are saying we're in solidarity with, almost like it's a new thing, but you were in the trenches in the 80s in Lebanon, fighting the very same IDF that is still oppressing the people of Palestine. So I think a lot more needs to be told about the stories.
And again, if you can check, there's no coincidence. Apartheid in 1948, IDF in Israel 1948, Balfour Declaration, and decide General Malan and all this general, there was that coordination.
The terrible twins, Israel and apartheid South Africa.
Yes.
Thank you so much, Jabu Radebe. Really appreciate your time. And we're going to take a quick break. This has been a really, really wonderful, eye-opening conversation. If you missed it, you can head over to our social media platforms. So Spotify network, it's one that needs to be known. It's one that needs to be understood. And it's one that needs to be told as much as possible because Jabu Radebe won't be with us forever. We need to document these stories so that they stay with us and we understand the responsibility that we have as South Africans. Thank you so much. Going to take a quick break. News and views will continue after this.
Okay.